The first major animal welfare law was passed in 2014 by the Department of Livestock Development, or DLD, called the Cruelty, Prevention and Welfare of Animals Act. On the surface, many of the things mentioned in the article are quite reasonable. For example, Section 20 states that no person shall perform any act which is deemed an act of cruelty to animal without justification. Section 22 states that the owner is expected to provide proper welfare to the animal, and Section 23 prohibits the abandonment of the animal to get the animal out of their care. However, reading deeper into these sections also reveals some questionable decisions as well. Looking at Section 20, they determine that there are exceptions to what they consider to be an act of cruelty. Both the killing of an animal to prevent the spread of a disease and euthanasia in specific circumstances are not considered cruelty. Perhaps to some this is morally questionable, but at least it is understandable and justifiable. However, what is not justifiable is why traditional animal fighting and killing animals in accordance with religious rituals are not considered cruelty. Somewhat expectedly, the passing of these laws did little to prevent the epidemic of animal welfare violations. Therefore, an amendment was created in 2018 to combat this. The DLD would now require the registration of every animal that would cost 450 baht for each animal. In principle, this was designed to promote the responsible ownership of animals, according to advocates. In practice, however, the high cost of this registration meant that charitable folks who own pet shelters would need to pay tens of thousands of baht in registration fees, and failure to do so would result in egregiously high fines. For example, an owner of a homeless pet shelter in Ang Thong province, someone who cares for 70 stray cats and 30 stray dogs would need to pay 45,000 baht in registration fees. This is on top of the 10,000 baht she reportedly also spends on food each month. It was then inevitable that this measure would prompt backlash from the Thai populace, with one disease academic saying the law would backfire and would result in even more abandoned pets. Regardless, a registration fee or not, that still does not change the 800,000 or so homeless animals in Thailand.
Neutering is the term used to describe the surgical removal of both male and female animals' reproductive organs, and is a common practice done by pet owners in many countries. For example, the American Kennel Club, an organization that is reputable for the dissemination of information about animal welfare, predicts that 80% of dogs in the United States are neutered. On the other hand, a report from the Soy Dogs Foundation, one of the largest animal welfare organizations in Thailand, states that they have neutered over 370,000 dogs, about 40% of the stray population. The health benefits that arise from the neutering of dogs will vary from breed to breed, such as the reduction in aggressiveness in certain breeds to lower cancer risks in others. However, the most significant impact of neutering is population control. If the final goal is to reduce the amount of homeless animals, then the last thing that we want is for them to be multiplying. The costs of the surgeries are quite expensive. However, with prices above 1,200 baht per animal, this means that in lower income areas, or for people taking care of large numbers of animals, the cost is the main deterrent. Pet breeding involves the mating of selected pets with intention to produce specific qualities and characteristics. For dogs, it has been practiced since prehistoric times, but has accelerated in modern times. Reasons for this practice may be purely personal, for others, it is for profit. This is especially prevalent in Thailand, where there is high demand in its thriving pet industry. It is reported that people in Asia love buying pedigree pets, but once the excitement runs out, these animals consequently end up in the streets. Animal rights groups such as PETA believe pet breeding has hugely contributed to pet overpopulation, pet abandonment.
Those are the three main factors contributing to the problem of stray overpopulation in Thailand. So now, how do we go about fixing this problem? It seems that this is such a widespread issue that the difference any one of us as individuals can make is marginally small. But the truth is that anyone is capable of making a difference. For example, do you know someone who is looking to buy a new furry friend? Perhaps you can persuade them to forego the inhumane grasp of pet breeders and instead adopt a rescue or a stray. The Bangkok Puppy/Kitten Cafe is an excellent place for people interested in the adoption of a new pet. These are typically provided by a variety of different shelters, and you will have the gratification of knowing that you've helped at least one homeless pet find a new home. Advocating on behalf of this problem is another way to ensure that this problem garners more attention in political institutions where real change can be made. The more people that know about this problem, the more likely the overburdening costs of pet registration and prohibitive costs of neutering animals will be reduced. Alas, it takes more than a few laws to change the minds of a society. Therefore, spreading awareness for this issue on a community level is just as important as the people are the real benefactors and providers of change. If you have an excess of free time, you may find it rewarding to volunteer at a charity or social organization that works to combat this issue. An example of which is Rescue Paws Thailand, who perform a variety of functions to aid homeless dogs, including the neutering and vaccination of stray dogs, and potential sponsorship opportunities that provide funds for volunteers to help animals in the shelter. Trust me when I say that the difference that you are able to make is so much greater than you realize. Thank you for watching this video, and please remember to #adopt not shop.